Okay, this is yet another set of pointless pointers. So, um, yeah, during the search, it seemed like I was always at a fork in the road of some kind, and oftentimes it would involve, um, do I want to make myself feel better in a sort of instant gratification type way, or do I want to look deeper into what is or what I am? And it seemed like a choice that could be made, and it seemed like at times I would fall into this instant gratification thing where I wouldn't care to look into this stuff anymore because I was tired of it. I'm tired of seeking. And poor me. I'll never find it, and I'll never get there. And it's true. I didn't get there. But what can happen, of course, is the investigation into the one who wants to get there. And there's no getting there. That happens because of that. You could say there's a resting as here-ness. So this isn't going anywhere. You could say liberation is the seeing that nothing goes anywhere. Nothing is going towards something else. Because even that is this. Even the notion of movement and progression and path and process is this. So there's no, it's amazing because there's just nowhere to go and there's no one to go anywhere. And of course, what I mentioned about the instant gratification or the looking. So we're basically programmed from a young age that pleasure is good and pain is bad, and I want pleasure and I don't want pain. And then when we hear about this liberation stuff, this enlightenment stuff, then it's like, wow, that must be the ultimate pleasure for me. That must be the best way for me to feel good all the time. I tried drugs, I tried sex, I tried everything, blah, blah, blah. And then this enlightenment thing, that must make me feel really good. So you have this me that wants to feel good, and enlightenment is the new way to do that. So you could say, I don't know if I said this before, but I'd be lying if I said that enlightenment didn't feel very good. But I would be lying also if I said that enlightenment was a good feeling for me. So yes, enlightenment or liberation feels good in a very literal sense. It's as simple as that. But it doesn't feel good for the one who wanted it. It doesn't feel good for the seeker who wanted it. It doesn't feel good for the self. It doesn't. You could say the organism enjoys liberation more than seeking, but that's because of an absence. So the enjoyment is because of absence. The absence of the one who wanted. The absence of the one who thought there was lack. So it's an irony. It's a bit of a paradox. So if I walked around and said, I am happy that liberation happened because I feel good all the time, or I am happy now, that'd be very misleading and it's erroneous. So there's no attainment, really. Because the one benchmark, of course, during the search was, you know, I'm pretty happy today. That must mean I'm enlightened. Or I'm kind of irritable today, so that must mean I fell back into unenlightenment. Or whatever. So the emotional benchmark, how good I feel determines my state of enlightenment or unenlightenment. And I'm gauging my emotions or, moods. And there's the idea, again, this is the consistent thing, that there's the notion of a self in here that all this applies to. So the self that's angry, the self that feels good, the self that feels bad. And it's some sort of a benchmark. And emotions, these days emotions are very, it's like everyone wants to be in touch with their emotions, and therapy is very, it's like the new religion maybe or something. That's just speculative, but this is just really my own experience. Yeah, that's another thing that happens. I don't know anyone else's experience. I listened to guru after guru and I thought, yeah, now I understand Tony Parsons, or I understand Wayne Lickerman or Eckhart Tolle or Charlie Hayes or whoever I was into at the time. Now I know them, I know their experience, but it was all speculative because it's all, you could say, it's all me, or I'm all one. Tony Parsons says, it's the seeing that what I am is all one. So these divisions I created between me and the guru, me and this teaching, me and my emotional state, me and my mindset. So it's me and other, and it's a false idea. It's based in you could say in an illusion that there is valid separation operating. So the validity of a self that could or could not become enlightened is what we're exposing here, and also the validity of someone that could or couldn't suffer, the validity of the person itself, the separate self, as valid. And this is about something experiential and real. It's not about something that's conceptual or believable. There's no way to believe anything because there isn't anyone to believe anything. And also, believing it wouldn't be any good anyway because beliefs are just, it's like a weather pattern that stays around a little longer. It's like a persistent storm, but it comes and goes anyway. You could say certain thoughts seem more like, clouds, wispy clouds that pass through, and other thoughts are more like lingering clouds that seem to hang around for a while. I had a belief system up and running for a good few years, and then it was gone. It dissipated to be replaced by a new belief system, or I tweaked the belief system. And again, this assumes the believer, the one to whom these belief systems apply, and the one who wants to believe the correct thing and argue their belief system. So this is the end, I'm afraid to say. This is the end of everything, all of that. But it's not, it sounds so dramatic. It's not. Just watch a child. Watch a you could say a pre-me child. And that's it. Watch an animal, that's it. Watch nothing, and that's it. Look at a tree. That's it. This is it. I say that's it as though it's somewhere else, but no, this is it. This is it. It's simple, it's obvious, and it may take a dedicated and willing investigation, even though there's no one to do that. So this is where the paradox is sort of apparent, and that's fine. Basically, if there's enough suffering, anything will be tried to end the suffering. So as a suggestion, I would say, just go for the root of it right now and save yourself needless suffering. I was stubborn during the search, thinking that I could come up with shortcuts or, different ways to sort of maneuver my way around suffering, or come up with belief systems that would protect me from it, or just tricks of the mind that didn't help. They weren't helpful in sort of seeing through this whole game. They were just distractions. I would just say stick with it right now. But see, I'm not talking to a person in saying that. I'm not saying you, Mr. Separate Person, Mr. or Mrs. Separate Person, stick with this. It's oneness saying, hey, oneness, stick with it, because you're not a person. You're oneness. You are you could say, unconditional love, pretending to be a seeker, or a guru, or some guy in a red shirt talking about nothing. It makes no difference. It's all oneness anyway. And if there's the urge to see that there's only oneness, and to live, no one can live it, but you could say the experiential reality that there's only oneness, then look into what thinks it isn't oneness. And it may be surprising to see that even that is oneness. It's very surprising here to see that the one that was so sure he was separate, defective, and unworthy was just a movie, you could say, that was actually oneness. And these are just concepts, but thanks for listening, and